Hello, Hamilton County 4th graders. Hello, hello. Today is week 3, day 3, introduction. We are starting a new lesson today. We are moving on from area and perimeter, and we are moving into line plots. Line plots was introduced in 3rd grade, so some of this might be a little bit of a refresher. The ones in 3rd grade might not have had the fractions that we have in it though, so pay close attention. We're going to be utilizing a lot of our fraction sense in this lesson. We're going to be changing some mixed numbers to improper fractions and then back to mixed numbers. And so this will be a good review for that. Line plots specifically are used when we have a data set that has more than one value for each mark on the number line. And so I did get an example up here for you because sometimes it's easier to show you than to try and explain it verbally. And so I have a T-chart here where we are looking at boards that we are going to use for a garden fence. So we have 2 3-foot boards, 3 3.5-foot boards, 2 4-foot boards, 1 4.5-foot board, and 1 5-foot board. And I'll put a line between these to make it a little bit easier to read. Sorry about that. And so, when we're constructing our line plot, we don't have to start at 0 like you would normally have to do for a number line. You can start at you will start at the smallest value in your data. So we're going to go through, this is the data right here, all right, that we're going to look at. We're going to use the measurement to figure out how we want to set up our number line. And you'll see I already did it for us, starting with the smallest board. The smallest board is 3 feet, and the largest board is 5 foot. I knew I needed to have fractions in my line plot because some of my values had fractions in them. And since this data set only had halves, I didn't really have to change anything there. And so we're just going to go through and we're going to fill out our line plot. We're looking at the smallest unit of measurement, which was 3 feet. We need to make 2 tallies over this. This is one of the other big differences from line plots to number lines. Number lines, we would normally put our tally right on the number line. In line plots, we put them above the number because we have more than one that needs to go in that spot. Going to 3.5, I have 3 boards. And I usually like to go back and check through to make sure that I had gotten that value. That's the one big mistake most people make when they're filling out line plots, is they do not transfer their data correctly. They mess that up. And if you mess that up, your whole line plot's going to be skewy. Understand? Good. So we have 2 4-foot boards. 1, 2. We have 1 4.5 board. 1. And we have 1 5-foot board. So now we have our line plot done. Where we go from here, though, is, I'm finding a different color. Some pink would be nice. Thank you. So what we're going to do with this? Well, line plots are great for being able to look at and be like, okay, what's my largest board going to be? Well, I can easily see that. How many 5-foot boards do I need? Oh yeah, I only need 1. So this is just a different way to set your table up. And when you come across questions on like the FSA that are like, what is the sum of the length of boards less than 4 feet? And they present it in a line plot, you have to be able to read that line plot. So let's try and answer this. What is the sum of the lengths of the boards less than 4 feet? So it's not equal to 4 feet. It's going to be less than. So any of the values that come after or before 4. So I have 2 boards, and I'm just going to use multiplication to figure this out. I've got 2 boards that are 3 foot. So I have 6 feet worth of boards here. And we're doing the sum of the length. So we're going to add. So we have the next value is 3.5. And I've got 3 of those. So we do 3 times 3.5. This is where your fraction sense comes into. Because when we multiply mixed numbers, we have to change that mixed number into an improper fraction first. So taking 3.5 and changing it into an improper fraction, remember, we multiply the denominator. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we add the numerator. So our new fraction is 7 halves. So we're going to multiply. We're not multiplying 3 times 3.5 anymore. We are multiplying 3 times 7 halves. Whoops. Still messed it up. And when we multiply fractions, we multiply by the top. 3 times 7 is 21. And we divide by the bottom. 21 divided by 2 is going to be 10 and 1/2. And then we just add. So we have 16 and a half. What if it's asking us, what is the sum of the boards greater than 4 feet? So we want boards that are greater than 4 feet. We're going to go up here, and instead of looking to the left, we're going to look to the right. So we have one board that is at 4.5, and we're just going to leave that there because 4.5 times 1 is going to be 4.5, no matter what you do. And then we're going to add our 1/5, and that'll equal 9.5. So on the left side of our line plot, we have 16.5 feet worth of wood, and from the right of the 4, we have 9.5 feet worth of board. Boom. And that's basically what line plots look like. We'll get into more practice once we get into the instructional book. But there isn't too much to it, as long as you have your fraction sense. If you don't have that fraction sense going on, it's not going to work out that well for you. In fact, let's just do a couple just to refresh your memory, so when you go into the book, you're going to have a better understanding of what to do. So if we have a mixed number, say 3.5, or we just did that. That's why that number was stuck in my head. Let's do 3 3/4. And let's just say we were going to multiply that by 2. Before I can multiply that, I have to change this into an improper fraction. And how I do that is I do 3 times 4 is 12. And then I add my numerator. 12 plus 3 is 15. And my denominator stays the same. And then we can multiply it. 2 times 15 is 30. We divide by the bottom. 30 goes into 4, 7, and 2/4, I believe. I'm doing that mentally. If you can't do it mentally, you're going to have to do it the bar or the long way, which is the denominator goes outside the house. 4 does not go into 3, but 4 goes into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. We subtract. That cancels those out. Remember, this is your whole number. This is your numerator, what's left over. And your denominator never changes. Just to refresh your memory on that. Yeah. Alrighty. See me in part 2 for our assigned pages today. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to call me or text me, and I will get to you as soon as I can. I do apologize for the lateness of the videos here lately. We've been having power issues and internet issues, and it's just been kind of just like an issue kind of week. But we're going to get caught up, and it's going to be great. We're going to be fine, and hopefully we won't have these issues next week. But we'll get caught up this week. Don't worry. Don't stress yourselves. Again, please be making sure you are taking pictures of your work and sending it to me so I can get you your feedback. These, you know, we haven't fully decided how we're grading the packets, but the packets are going to be picked up and we are going to be grading them in some way, shape, or form. So you need to be doing this work. You need to be being on task. And, you know, I know it's hard trying to self-motivate yourself when you don't technically have to go anywhere. And nobody, you know, mom and dad might not be watching over your shoulder all the time. We need to take responsibility for ourselves and for our own education and do what's best for us. So get me those pictures, get me your work, so I can get your feedback.